session. And so with that, I will call the Jail Oversight Board meeting to order for Thursday, August 7th, 2025. We'll start with roll call, starting on my right.
Barbara Griffin.
Sarah Enamorado.
Bethany Hallam.
Manny.
Thank you. Moving on to community corrections reports, passages to recovery.
Good evening, Board. Greg Price, Director of Operations at Passage to Recovery. Current census numbers is 21. We had 0 escapes, 1 revocation, 2 EMS transfers, 0 use of force, 0 self-injuries or self-harm nature, 0 COVID cases, and 0 people employed. Any questions, concerns? Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Renewal Center.
Good evening, Adam Zach, Case Manager Supervisor of Renewal Incorporated. We currently have 134 county reentrants, 108 in our work release program, that being 98 males, 10 females, and then 26 in our drug and alcohol program, 23 males and 3 females. We have a current employment rate of 67% with a mean pay rate of $19 an hour. In July, we had 33 successful completions, and we had 18 unsuccessful exits, 8 escapes, and 10 program revocations. We had 3 occurrences when the ambulance was called for county reentrants. Also in the past month, we had 0 deaths, 0 non-fatal overdoses, 0 use of force incidents, 0 self-harm incidents, 0 suicide attempts, and 0 cases of COVID for reentrants or staff. And then finally, back in June, one of our county reentrants won the Betty Esper Scholarship, sponsored by Renewal. The young man received $1,000 to go towards his schooling. Betty Esper is the former mayor of Homestead and a former Renewal board member, and she was on hand to present him as a scholarship.
Any questions? Member Hallam?
Thank you. The first thing is a comment. I saw for the first time, the clean team out there. Is that I forget what the name is.
Yes.
The clean team, yeah. And they were so nice. They were like really into what they were doing. I made sure to thank them for, all the work that they were doing outside, keeping the streets beautiful. And so I just wanted to let you know like how polite they were, how friendly they were. And like, they weren't just like that with me. They were like that with other people I saw them interacting with on the street. Just really excited about that program. And then the second thing is, I know at a previous meeting we had talked about Renewal sending us the grievances from the county folks in the facility, and I haven't received any yet, so I'm just wondering, have there not been any, or what is the update on that? But I see you're coming up, I'm guessing, to answer that question. Thank you.
I'm going to defer to our Vice President.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Scott Johansson, Johanson, Executive VP, Renewal Inc. Yes, since the last meeting, I had some conversations with Karen DeFallo, and she was communicating with some of the board members, and she asked me not to act on that request at this time. So I was going to defer that to her to respond, because I don't have any, I reached out to her prior to this meeting. That was the response. So
yeah,
I'm still working through that request with her.
Yeah, I would love to know why she is speaking for the board when we had agreed upon that at the last meeting. So
I'm not trying to get in the middle of anything.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just trying to appease the board, but also work with the board liaison. So I will let you know.
But do you understand that the board liaison works for the board, and the board requested? Oops. Board requested that.
I am aware.
Okay. So
I'm not trying to get any type of riff or anything. I'm just working through with Karen DeFallo, and I can communicate with her further. I was going to defer to her. She's not here.
She's here. So she told you not to send them to us? No. Okay.
That's not how it went.
That's what was just said.
That's not how it went. I communicated with Judge Baxter, Mr. Perkins, and they both told me to tell Mr. Johansson not to forward anything right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's what happened?
Yes, I was asked not to act on it at this time. Yes. Not to forward any at this time.
Okay, but you understand that we have access to that and that we requested it?
I'm aware.
Okay.
Did they give you a reason why?
I believe we're still working through the logistics, or maybe not. I'm in the process of trying to navigate what the expectations are. Either maybe there's a need for a policy or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do appreciate your response to that, and it seems like something that we can work out internally between our leadership team and the rest of the members.
Okay.
And close that gap. But thank you for your honest answer
Okay.
and providing
Thank
the
you.
information that you're able to.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Any other questions from members? Okay. Electronic monitoring?
Good evening, Board. Steve Eswine for the Probation Department. So for this reporting period, we had 645 individuals in the program, 80 successfully completed, and 5 of them, were taken back for violations. Any questions? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you. We do not have any board actions, so we do not have public comment on board actions. Item 3, because we do not have a quorum, we also must skip the review of the meeting minutes from July 3rd. And moving on to agenda item 5, old business. Do we have any updates from any of our subcommittees? Member Hallam.
Thank you. I have one. We, as the Incarcerated Individuals Welfare Fund Subcommittee, of which I think I'm maybe the only person here from right now, but we are meeting with jail administration on Monday to talk about the medical notification policy. So that's both lawyers, attorneys being notified about any medical situations for incarcerated people, and also family members being notified outside of just, hey, someone potentially may die, and trying to expand to make sure if someone's in the hospital or someone has any kind of medical emergency that the people that are worried about them can find out about it. So we are meeting on Monday. It's been really productive dialogue getting ready for that meeting. And so I just wanted to announce that that's kind of our project at the moment on that subcommittee.
Thank you. Member Griffin?
I'll just add a note on the Health Services Advisory Subcommittee. Part of that mission involves oversight of food services at the jail. Last month, I met with the Director of Food Services for Trinity, whose name I can't remember at the Rocco, yes. I've been locked out of my email, so I'm missing a lot of information. But yeah, so I did just learn a little bit about how food is prepared, nutrition issues, and those kind of things. And so I will circle back with some of the community members who I met with a couple months ago on this issue and update them on what I learned and talk about next steps going forward.
Thank you. Okay. There's no new business this meeting, so I'll hand it over to the warden for his report.
Good afternoon, Board. Just going to go through a couple items, not a lot. First, we're going to introduce Karen Kohler. Karen, some of you may know, may not know, she is our new Deputy for Administration. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Karen has taken the lead the last several months before she ever got this position with our community service. We've been doing it at the facility, so I was going to, hopefully, she can expound on that a little bit and introduce herself. Karen?
Thank you. So Karen, Deputy Warden of Administration, DWA. That sounds so exciting. Thank you, everybody. We've been doing community service for the last few months since June. And we started with Peoples of Oakland, and we've been doing a series, their picnic series. We help them set up. We help them set up games. We meet with their clients. We MC. We also clean up, help serve. There was a little gardening, little grill cleaning. We are full service as long as we can do it. From that, there's some nice things that came out of that. First of all, it was, you work from the jail and everybody would run. And now it's more inquisitive. What do you do at the jail? So it's a nice building relationship. And there's several people here that have participated with us. We also noticed that our employees are coming to me to say, this is community service that they're doing. And maybe we can volunteer in some of those projects. So in October, I'm sure people have heard Mission of Mercy. So we are trying to set up an opportunity for people to sign up to volunteer for that free dental, hearing, and vision clinic that's happening October 24th and 25th. So far we have one sign up, so that's awesome. People are really taking advantage of Warden's initiative of the department heads starting, and then the employees are hearing about it and joining in as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Karen. We also are gonna, position we hired that I thought the board would be interested in is Gary Copeland is gonna be our new population manager. He starts next pay period, I believe. Gary's gonna focus on working with all the stakeholders, courts, especially probation, everybody in the facility, to look, at a different, maybe critical eye of our population, where it's going, why it's going in one direction or the other. And we're looking forward to having someone in the facility that can coordinate everything around population management. We've been talking about it on and off for a while. You guys have probably been talking about it since COVID and watching it slowly go in one direction. So bringing Gary on, we're hoping that we will be able to report back to you all in a few months with what he's finding and why maybe the population is going in the direction it's going. So Mr. Copeland will be coming on next pay period. We created a process of trying to engage the media more at the facility, and our public information officers are starting to contact them and tell them about the stories that are going on in the facility. A newsletter, we've sent it out to all the media contacts. Some of them jumped on some of the stories, some of them not. That's fine. It's not necessarily going to be a monthly newsletter. It's going to be, as we can get enough stories, we're going to continue to push them out to all the local media outlets to tell some of the things that we're doing at the facility. That's all I have for now.
Good afternoon, Board. For Foundation of Hope, just wanted to remind everyone that the Foundation of Hope is continuing to accept book donations for the jail's library. So anyone that's interested in donating softback books, please go to the Foundation of Hope's website. The next book donation is scheduled for August 11th. The Foundation of Hope, as part of our reentry services expansion, has also begun resource and activities coordination services in the jail. They've started activities-based programming on several pods and will continue to expand that as their staffing increases. In addition, the resource coordination that they're doing helps support library services in the jail, and they've begun to catalog the jail's library and accept requests from the incarcerated population for specific books. So these services will all continue to expand in the coming months, and we're excited for this new initiative. For reentry services, Ethel, who was our first dog at the facility, was adopted on July 14th. Blaze, a husky, arrived at the facility. Blaze arrived underweight, and the handlers worked with him to get him some additional weight that he needs, and adoption is in the works for Blaze, so we're excited about that. On July 23rd, we expanded the Tails program with a second dog whose name is Max. Max is a mixed breed dog who's full of energy and also in line to be adopted. So we are in talks with Animal Friends about a new bonded pair of dogs that should be coming to us next week, assuming all goes well with these adoptions. The jail hosted a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the book vending machine on July 21st. We'd like to thank the Allegheny County Library Association for their extraordinary partnership on this, and Senator Lindsey Williams and Jay Costa for providing us with the opportunity to be the first location in Allegheny County to have a book vending machine. The children visiting the jail really have enjoyed the opportunity to take home a free book. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank Councilwoman Bethany Hallam and Jail Board Liaison Karen DeFallo for their attendance at that special event and for your continued support. That concludes this month's report for programs. Deputy Martin doesn't have anything to report today, so we can take questions at this time.
Questions?
Anybody?
Member Hallam?
Oh, sure. I'll go first. All right, so first question, I only have a few. First question, Warden, you spoke about the population manager, but I think that is a way bigger deal than the time that it was given. So I'm just wondering, I've been noticing, of course, the population going up. I don't think it's taken a dip since COVID. And so I'm just wondering, what's the plan for that, especially with the open alternative housing beds? Like, is that a coordination between courts, alternative housing? Who's all involved, and what will that population manager be doing? And can I meet him when he comes on?
Sure, we'll bring them up.
Okay.
So, I mean, Deputy Clerk may jump in, but my understanding is we are screening everybody at the facility for alternative housing. We have staff down there who do that, and then ultimately the judge will decide if they can go to alternative housing. I think I heard they have several empty beds, but we're working every day. There's someone screening these folks every day to get them to alternative housing, but I believe that the courts still have the final decision. I've seen an uptick. I got here in January, I think it was around 1,650. Today's population is 1,900. So if you add in alternative housing, we're over 2,000 right now, which is concerning, obviously. We don't want to have to open more pods if we don't have to that are closed. We are looking every day to move the people who are sentenced to state sentences and people who are sentenced to federal sentences, moving them out as quickly as possible. That's what we can control. The other parts of population we may not be able to control at the jail. So we're looking forward to Gary coming on board and working with probation, working with the courts to hopefully have a very pointed conversation about why this population is going up. I mean, some people have told me in summer months here in Pittsburgh, it does go up. There is an uptick. I don't know that. I wasn't here. I did look at the numbers over the last couple of years. There's been a little bit of an increase during the summer months, but right now it feels like we're moving in the wrong direction.
Thank you for that. I'm very, very excited about this. I know this was one of the things you talked about when you first came on board, really wanting to focus on, and so I appreciate it happening. The next question I have is, gotten a lot of complaints from specifically attorney friends who are noting whether it's a shift in policy or just something has changed, an inconsistency among a policy for the incarcerated people when they are meeting with their attorneys. They're no longer being allowed to bring like anything with them at all, legal paperwork, things to go over with their attorney. And so I know we had talked about this before, so I'm just wondering if you can provide an update about that policy and how we're ensuring compliance amongst all shifts.
Sure, that was probably a miscommunication, which I take responsibility for. There's a policy at the jail, and it may or may not have been completely followed to the T, and so we're readdressing that policy. In the meantime, we contacted the public defenders, we contacted Mr. Perkins and everyone else who comes to the jail to tell them that it is okay to do what they were doing. So there was a few days that that was an issue, but we redirected that it was okay for them to do that, but we are going to look at that policy with input from those folks.
Awesome. And if someone has that problem now going to visit a client and they're not being allowed to bring anything, who should they report it to? Should they just tell us and we tell you? Like, what's the best way that you prefer folks go about that if it continues?
And the chief has worked with a lot of the different lawyers and attorneys on this, so they can contact him.
Awesome. I know a lot of people that will be really excited to hear that, so thank you for that. My next question is about, it has been so hot out, and I just know we've had issues with HVAC system in the past, wondering if there has been any abnormalities with the air conditioning on any of the pods.
It was 90 in our office last week.
Your office. I also am concerned about that, but like kind of after this. Yeah.
I'm sure you are. No, we haven't had a lot of complaints. When the humidity's up, there's issues. We're putting fans in, we're issuing extra water to everybody when that happens. 2 weeks ago, when the humidity was and the temperatures were up, we took those provisions. This week with the humidity, now it seems to really go with humidity, but as of now, we're not getting any complaints about specific areas.
Okay, and is there like some sort of regular check? Like, is that part of like the guards' rounds, is taking temperature on the pod?
We'll hear from the corrections officers when
because they're hot too, right?
They're in there.
Okay.
The officers are in those same pods, so we'll hear from from them when there's an issue.
Okay, and then last question I have is regarding Hep C and HIV testing, whether that happens for everyone that comes in the jail. If not, who's it happening for? And then follow up to that will be, what does treatment look like?
Sure. So everybody that comes into the jail gets offered HIV and STD testing like right from the gate. So an intake, you can produce a urine, and that'll be sent off for STD testing. If you want the HIV testing, we draw labs when you get upstairs. That all goes through the health department. If you want to request hepatitis C testing, we have rapid tests that we just acquired, and we started like a really small soft launch on that. So once we get that process more in place, we would like to expand that more to the intake population as well. But that's just where the testing is for the hepatitis. For treatment, if you are on HIV meds, you'll get them continued. If you need to start on HIV meds, not a problem. And we also offer PrEP for, any of those precautions. For the hepatitis, if you are currently on treatment on the street, we will get that continued by reaching out to the pharmacies that you get those through and get those delivered into the jail. Starting hepatitis C treatment is not in the works yet, but we do make referrals to anybody who may need it to our River Clinic partners.
Okay, so it is all of those things, STD, HIV, Hep C, all voluntary testing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then HIV testing isn't offered until you get upstairs. So folks who
You
are just
get it offered in intake.
Okay.
And then if you want it, then we just get you scheduled into our lab to get the blood drawn.
Okay, and if you don't go upstairs, there's just not time and it's not happening.
All those questions get asked in processing, so you're going to be going upstairs at that point.
Cool. And is it something that you're like thinking about? And do we call it induction when it's Hep C testing, just like we did for?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So
Sure.
Is that something that's like in the works? I just realized that a lot of people, this is the first time they're being seen by a medical provider, maybe in a long time. And is there a way we could?
So Hep C testing, our treatment is a very costly medication, and is honestly one of the most difficult things that a lot of jails across the country face to try to start treatment on. But that's why we partnered with with the River Clinic to get them follow up immediately afterwards. It's just it's a tough medication to get your hands on.
Okay. And the River Clinic is who you're referring people to, like once they leave.
Yeah.
If they're going to need treatment.
It's the clinic. Sometimes they have the van parked out
Yeah, I
in the
know of
jail
them.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much.
All right.
Member Manny?
All right, I have a couple questions. One is a follow-up question about something that you already discussed about the AC. We've received personal complaints about 4C specifically. Maybe on like the high humidity days. Is that a part that you receive complaints about?
Several, but 4C is one of them.
Okay.
Among other pods, but 4C is one of them, when it's really hot out.
I got you. But like as of now, it's cool though, right?
As of today, we received no complaints. I haven't.
All right, I got you. All right, so my main question is a personnel issue, and of course, I understand if there are some details you're not at liberty to discuss, but because it's been public information for the past 2 weeks now about that viral video that came out of that CEO, Brian Davis, who said very, very hurtful and disturbing things. I do have to give, credit where it's due. I'm a fan of that. He was immediately suspended, and of course, that was reported on the news, but I haven't seen or heard any updates since. Are you able to provide any updates on what's happened with him?
He no longer works for the county.
All right. Appreciate that. I'm happy to hear that. What does that process look like whenever situations like this arise?
I'd prefer not to talk about that in this forum. I can just tell you he's no longer working for the county.
Okay, I got you. One last question, and of course, I understand if you prefer not to talk about it. Will there be any review of any complaints that were made about him specifically by any of the incarcerated?
I believe we already started looking at that.
Okay.
After the incident was brought to our attention.
All right, got you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, members, for your questions. And Manny, just to talk a little bit about the HR process, if there is something that is brought to our attention, like what happened with Brian Davis. There's a review, there's a determination on whether they are suspended with or without pay, there's an internal investigation, and then, what this investigation found is that termination was the best path forward for that individual. So that's generally how it works.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And I don't have any questions. So with that, thank you all for your updates and your reports. We will move to public comment on general matters. And first up is Brandy Fisher, who signed up early and online, which you can do. What's the website?
I just Googled Jail Oversight Board, and you can sign up to give public comment that way.
Oh, yes. I won't do that. I did see that.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I know I haven't been here in a while. I've been grateful for that. And I wanted to first thank Manny for, I'm sorry, I can say Manny, for, bringing up the incident with Brian Davis, because I wanted to echo your sentiments to the county for the way that they handled the situation so quickly, promptly, and how they were very responsive, which didn't need advocacy done. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm here today with deep concerns about the incarceration and treatment of an 18-year-old young man by the name of Seven Rule, who's currently being detained in Allegheny County Jail. Mr. Rule has been in custody without bail since June 26th. Shockingly, his arraignments are not scheduled until August 22nd and September 15th, up to 81 days after his arrest. And I have grave concerns about these delays. I know that's not in your control, but I wanted to make sure I echo that. But even more disturbing is Mr. Rule's account of being violently assaulted by multiple correctional officers. He reports being punched repeatedly, stomped on, stabbed with keys, and left with a broken jaw, damaged ribs, and lasting injuries, all after a vape pen reportedly fell from his hair during a search. Rather than receiving continuous medical care and protection, Mr. Rule has been placed in solitary confinement, further endangering the physical and mental health, his physical and mental health. An officer's own report, which is Mr. D'Angelo, admits to using force, raising serious questions about the jail's protocols and accountability. It appears to be excessive in our opinion. He was also transported to Allegheny General Hospital, so his injuries were severe enough to be transported to the hospital, but when he came back, he was not placed on any medical pod. He was placed in RHU, which is not supposed to be used for disciplinary actions at all, according to the law that was passed. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I will be sending you an email, which will be detailed. I also will be including the warden on that, who I plan to ask to meet with soon. How are you? And I've received several calls about this from inside the jail and people outside the jail. So he had a lot of people advocating for him and trying to get him help, even all the way from Texas. So that's why I'm here to talk about this today, and hoping that he can be removed from RHU immediately and placed in a safe environment where he is getting medical care, as he is still complaining about his ribs hurting and his shoulder being in pain. He is currently on a soft food diet because he cannot eat because of his jaw being broken. It was told to us that he was on a hunger strike, which was not true. He said he was never striking. He could not eat because he was struck. So if I could get a response to this, in response to our email that I'll be sending the letter, I would appreciate it. I just wanted it on record, and that's why I came here today. Thank you. And thank you again for firing Brian Davis.
Thank you. Next up, Chief Makina.
Good evening.
Now, I would like to thank you all for hearing my reflections of the Allegheny County Jail. Now, either I'm just crazy or we have a public health crisis linked to the address known as 950 2nd Avenue, the Allegheny County Jail. How many more people have to die before a complete overhaul or shutdown of this facility takes place? You simply can't afford to keep allowing the culture at this jail to continue with their business as usual philosophy. Allegheny County Jail has one of the highest death rates in this country. You can't sit back and do nothing about this. Again, I echo the sentiments of Brandy Fisher. Thank you for firing and not just suspending Brian Davis. But he isn't the only one that feels this way. It's a culture that's practiced at the Allegheny County Jail. We, the people, call for rehabilitation of this facility. He's obviously not the only person who's violating the code of ethics at this facility. People are put into what is known as a turtle suit. It's a green suit. Whether you're complaining about your head hurting or needing medication that you weren't able to take with you on this journey to jail, and people are told, oh, well, I have a firsthand account of such behaviors. Something has to be done. We do have a new warden, and so far, one person has died on your watch in March of just this year. That alone alludes to the fact that it's not the warden that's the problem. It's the COs who are in charge of monitoring people. They simply just don't care. I've witnessed personally myself an elderly woman who was in jail who couldn't hear and also couldn't see, and then she was penalized for not following instructions that she probably had no idea about the code or how she was to conduct herself in those situations. Something more has to be done. We can't keep being the #1 jail in the country that allows people to die inside of jails. Death by incarceration should not be these people's sentence. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is John Kostenowitz.
Point of personal privilege, Chair Innamorato.
Member Hallam?
Yeah, before this next public speaker goes, I just want to make sure everyone on the board is aware that over the weekend, Mr. Kostenowitz sent numerous emails to this board filled with racial slurs. After the first instance, Manny responded and said, please do not use that language towards me or ever. And he continued to do it in 2 more emails after that, using very explicitly the full N-word in emails. And I know County Council President sent him a letter today telling him that he is not allowed to do that, telling him not to say that word in public comment in council meetings. But I would just like to remind him to not use that word tonight or you will be removed from this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hallam. Mr. Kostenowitz, your 3 minutes has begun.
Okay, I'll respond to that at the end, okay? Our petition drive to reinstate leg restraints on hospital runs is creating a wide coalition of our officers, our healthcare staff, our friends in public safety, our firefighters, our police, our sheriffs, our paramedics, some advocates for the rights of our residents, and the public. I set up a table in our jail parking lot for 6 days, obtaining 265 signatures of registered voters at each of the 3 shift changes, each day from our officers, healthcare staff, and our office staff, engaging, learning, building relationships, and supporting our frontline staff. It was wonderful meeting new staff and re-engaging with staff I've known for years. We are working in teams with officers, going to fire stations, police stations, and EMS stations, describing the risk to our public, our residents and our officers without leg restraints in emergency rooms, and getting a lot of support and signatures from our public safety friends. Now, one individual has said to me that they were aware of the 2022 referendum at the time of voting regarding the leg shackles. How could this be? The leg shackles were not on the November 2021 ballot. The word was used 1% of the time on the petition statement. Voters seeing the petition statement thought they were voting to stop solitary confinement. Even WPXI did their own study of the petition statement, citing the significant lack of almost any information about the leg shackles. Looking at the facts, it is clear the majority of voters did not know what they were voting for regarding the leg shackles. Let's move on. Our sheriffs will shackle everyone on hospital runs if provided the contract. Our initiative excludes pregnant females, residents with certain health conditions, and residents who do not pose a risk of escape or to hurt themselves or someone else. Our initiative is much more humane than using the sheriff's option. And as a result, we have been obtaining signatures from different advocates for our residents. After this meeting, I will be available for anyone who wants to be more informed about our initiative and sign our petition. So in the limited time left, I want to respond to what Ms. Hallam said. Okay, I received a text on Sunday that was incredibly demeaning and used racial slurs.
Your time is up.
Okay.
Next up is someone who we hear is celebrating a birthday and a major milestone, year 100, Miss Miriam Damick. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marion. Happy birthday to you.
Advisor, but I'm glad to have a good group here because I've known this jail before it was a jail. I was part of the people who went down and tried to make it. It started as a jail. And before, you wouldn't believe what we did before. It was awful. But
You're
now,
saying wonderful things. Let's come to the mic.
okay.
Because everybody wants to hear, even the people at home.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, I know the jail. I helped set up the thing for the jail. And from what it was, which was awful, I had a private driveway, a parking spot, and I would meet with the warden and everybody routinely. I was with ACLU at that time, and also lately with Prison Society, but mostly with the ACLU, and saw how this jail blew up. You knew we used to meet in the basement of the jail for the meetings, your meetings here. We met there for years, and it was really very, very interesting because one thing, you got to go into the jail, and then you saw what was there and what wasn't there. And that really, I think, was very helpful, if not very important. Very helpful. You're sitting here, you really don't know, if you haven't been around the jail, what is in the jail or what isn't in the jail and what it's like. That, I don't think we could get back to it, but I thought that really was important. And so I've, yeah, used to parking. So I know what the jail was like before it was here. I know what it's like when I was working and going for Prison Society and ACLU, particularly ACLU, every judge mentioned. And that we had meetings down here in the jail, in the courthouse. But in one of the small rooms, everybody was all grouped together, and my son would give out notes for places to go. It's a change, and you should try to realize how much you have gained since when it started. Of course, I will say it was years ago, and I'd like to see it continue to improve, because it improved from when I was young. 100 years, my God, 100. It wasn't 100 years ago. I had to grow up first to be able to get in. You really ought to look at it in a different way and see what can help, what can improve in small ways. Everything you improve in small ways gets bigger, and it really makes the work efficient. And pray, the idea of a jail is to make people better than they were when they came in the door.
Yes.
And that is something I think we sometimes forget, and we should remember. That's the purpose of being in jail. If we think of it as punishment, just punishment, but you know, when you're having children, whatever, when you punish, you really have to look at what you're saying to the kids. And that's what they'll remember. And I think we really have to keep that in mind. So, happy everything. Everybody stay well. And fingers crossed, I will too.
Thank you, Marion. And you show us all that using your voice and being an advocate, you know, maybe that helps you live to be 100. Yes. It keeps you young. So thank you for lending your voice and your wisdom to all of us over the years. Thank you, thank you. Up next, we have John Bolanos.
And I was just going to announce her birthday.
Oh, do you want to give any remarks?
I'm so proud of her from the Prison Society, and she inspires all of us.
Wonderful. Thank you, John. Up next, Sharon Bonavolia.
Yeah, be careful.
I know. They'll shun me.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. This is weird. Okay. All right. Yeah, right there. No, sorry. We at Penn are anxiously awaiting the results of the study conducted concerning the monthly $125 payments to each of the residents of the jail. This money is coming from them and their friends and families who help to support them in paying the high prices for commissary items, phone calls, and enhanced tablet use. This is a justice issue, and we encourage the JOB to do all in your power to keep these payments in place at the current amount. We also continue to challenge both Judge Bigley and Judge Ivashevic to use the authority in their own courtrooms, as well as their influence with their peers, to drastically reduce the population in the jail by lifting detainers that are keeping hardworking, tax-paying citizens behind bars, where they are instead losing their jobs, homes, cars, and even access to their children. Both of these judges also have the power to provide access to empty beds at renewal and other alternative housing. And all of this means that jail staffing issues might not be as severe because population would be decreased. I am thrilled, Warden Wingard, to hear about the new hire and the work that can be done to reduce the population at the jail. I also just want to say from the Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, happy birthday. And, you know, tragically, I also now would like people to rise for the reading of the names of those families who celebrate birthdays without the people that were born on those days. Richard Lenhart, Robert Blake, Cody Still, Daniel Pastoric, John Brady, Martin Buchek, Robert Harper, Vinkley Harris, Justin Brady, Paul Allen, Roger Millspaugh, Paul Spisak, Gerald Thomas, Jerry Lee Ross Jr., Victor Joseph Zelenek, Ronald Andrus, Anthony Tolada, William Spencer, James Washington, Damon Leroy Kays, Tim Menino, Douglas Bonamo, Zachary Som, Nicole Barufi, Richard Shuba II, Terrence Clowney, Tracy Hickey, and Justin McAuliffe.
Dr. Fisher?
I'm Dr. Stephen Fisher, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, Stephen, F-I-S-H-E-R, Fisher. Happy birthday, Marianne. I was thrilled to hear Marianne echoing the exact words used by our new warden at the time he came here. The notion that the jail is here, the people would be better when they get out than when they got in, almost echoing the phrasing. Really, really encouraging. I've seen that happen. I've had someone tell me I'm visiting in a neighboring jail in Butler County. I wasn't arrested, I was rescued. I'm so glad I'm here in retrospect. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out in the end so well for that guy, but for part of the time he was in jail, there was a clear direction of improvement from being there in the adjacent facility. I was somewhat disappointed that in reading the names of those who died, I had a year of experience full-time at the Western Penn before it was closed down as a physician. And I'm also board certified in addiction medicine, and I know 3 of the names that were just read personally. That discourages me a little bit. One of them I have called before and will call again, the widow, to tell, so that she can tell her teenage son his dad was prayed for. We're hoping that really, really will change. But I don't know exactly what, I've made some suggestions here that haven't always been very smart, like providing more money for, and there's no way to do that. I'm so grateful that things are going in a positive direction. I'm really thrilled to be here in a much more positive atmosphere. I don't have a positive suggestion right now, except if we're listening to people in the community, that's got to be a plus. And thanks. I wish I had something prepared better to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacqueline Lyde. Oh, okay. Sounds good. That concludes public comment. And before we adjourn, I would like to make an announcement So did I miss anyone else who signed up? Okay. So because we do not have a quorum this evening, we do have to vote on the payments from the IIWF. So there will be a voting meeting open to the public on August 20th at noon here in the Gold Room. And we will make sure that that information is posted online as well. Any other announcements from members?
I think that's it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.
I have 6 dozen mini cupcakes for Marion's birthday.